Hello, and welcome to Fusion Writing, where building character meets creating structure. Today is the map day. We go a little bit more deeply into our topic, and this is our writing week. So without further preamble, I'm going to send you right over to Victoria.
Thank you so much. Welcome back. I'm so happy to have everyone here. It's nice to watch our ranks growing and more people joining. Some of you know, some of you don't. Every Saturday over in LiLLiPub, we meet at noon Central Time and we do 2 writing sprints. And then from 1 to 2, we do a workshop where anyone can submit. This is your opportunity to work directly with us. We all workshop each other's work, and then we do a second set of sprints following in the 2 to 3 o'clock Central hours. So do come over and join us and let us help you. Let us work with you and help get your writing to the level that you want it to be. That's over at lillipub.org. With that said, this week we're talking about writing, and when we set up the compass yesterday, Kathleen was really specific about giving you a set of a scenario to take a look at and think about. So as I'm walking you through our short lesson, I want you to keep that in the back of your mind. As I mentioned yesterday, too often, especially newer writers, think that you just sit down, you have an idea, and you write your story from beginning to end, and then maybe you go back and you do the edits. Now, for my pantsers and my discovery writers, that may very well be how a story comes together for you. You just hammer it out from start to finish, kind of in a stream of consciousness, because you have a sense of that story and you can put it together in your mind as you do the writing. That is absolutely a valid way of working if that works for you. Personally, I'm not that kind of writer. I need to have a very defined roadmap that gets me from scene to scene to scene so that I can build chapters. And that has to be decided ahead of time. So the important part as you're sitting down to begin writing is, number one, do that diagnostic so you have a sense of how you work best. That's going to decrease frustration. And number two, give yourself a little bit of time to think about, what is this story going to look like? So as a quick example, we'll use the 3-act structure. You have some kind of opening, you have something that kicks off your story. And generally speaking, that's going to build towards something else. Doesn't have to be a big crazy conflict. It can be a tiny attitude shift. It can be a shift in the character traits as Kathleen teaches and describes them. It can really be anything. It can be a big moment or it can be a quiet moment, but it's a change. And then that change is going to result in some kind of outcome. That's just a simple hill that describes a basic story flow. So once you have a sense of that, whether you're making those decisions based on the story plot itself, or you're making those decisions based on how your character is going to grow, those things move hand in hand, side by side. So you only really have to figure one of them out in order to hang the other details on that framework. So let's use an example. As you're thinking about, what does my story look like? Think about your character. What kind of change do I want to occur in my character that's going to be really interesting? And that's the key piece to hang on to. If it's interesting and exciting for you as the writer to think it out and write it out, then it's going to be interesting to your reader. And that's something that I think not enough time is spent on, because you can tell, correct me if I'm wrong, but you can tell when an author is really excited about their story. They love their subject, they love their characters, they dig in and they just write for all they're worth because they're so in love with it. If you can find those details for yourself, either in your character or in your story or both, then your story is going to have that same resonance. That's what we all want. So as you're thinking through this writing week and you're doing some of your exercises, I want you to really think hard about what hits you in the heart about your character or about your story elements. And I want you to lean into those, research them, really dive in deep and write those things that you're so excited about. Because number one, that's going to give you that framework that you need to hang the details on. And number two, it's going to keep that creative spark going through the writing process so that you don't bottom out or end up spinning your wheels. So that is my writing advice to you this week, is identify what you're really passionate about. What could you read and talk about all day long? Or what character just really fires you up? and then dive into those things. Really submerge yourself into the details so that you can build that steady, churning foundation of creativity. And that is the well that you will pull from to get that writing done. So, with that, keeping those things in mind, I'm going to throw it over to Kathleen to further dive into those character traits.
Oh my goodness, Victoria. This is really a case where our two lessons fit in beautifully. You're talking about having a character and saying to yourself, what transitions do I want to make my character undergo? And boy, do I have a transition plan for you in your writing drill. So this isn't going to be a whole novel unless it turns into something. But the idea is it's a miniature version of what you'll have to do when you create your whole novel. So ours is going to pull out of those two character traits, the self-assessment group and the courage group. And our character this time is a person. You can flesh out everything else about them, but this person is hampered by the misbelief, the false belief that his past or her past is determining of the future that the character can expect. And the, the character is going to need courage to escape from that erroneous belief. And you're going to get to have an opportunity to do exactly what Victoria was talking about. What is the mental change that you want your character to go through? What is he going to have to face in the way of challenges to be able to achieve that mental change? Will you have to do research to find out the period or the exact history, what was in that character's past, to write it in an accurate manner? Or maybe you will need to look up some psychology to find out what's going on psychically with your character, and use those tools that Victoria is building for you to write your character and try out your writing this week on a specific challenge. So you need the theory and then you need the practice. And then when you're done, as Victoria had mentioned, come on over to LiLLiPub.org. What I'd like for you to do is post your challenge on LiLLiPub.org. And what you'll find there is when you get over there, you'll see a link to where you can post your writing. And we get together on Saturday and we'll workshop what you've written and compare to what others in the group have written. I think you'll have just an amazing time. So get on over, do your writing, and then come on over to LiLLiPub. Any more to add, Victoria?
No, as always, it's an absolute delight to do these sessions and know that people are doing the exercises and joining us on Saturday. It's so much fun. It's just so much fun to see what you guys come up with. So do your work, do the exercises, do that deep thinking and apply what we've talked about today, and then come over and share with us because we share our work as well. So it's not just that we're not sitting there judging everybody. We're all on the same level and we're all just sharing what we're working on and helping push each other forward. So come and be lifted up with us.
Thank you, Victoria. Enjoy your writing week, and we will see you next week. Bye-bye.
See ya.